Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light.
Powered by Emery Allen.
Get rid of your excuses.
Your number one source for all things landscape lighting.
That's where the magic can happen. You can really scale a business.
We really had to show up for each other.
From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
You're a scaredy cat salesman, Kurt.
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What do you think a hippo has to do with your business, Ryan?
Usually it's some weird childhood thing. Some bully kicks your butt.
I think the key factor here is trust.
Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light. Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Man, I'm excited, you guys. We got a great show lined up. Let's face it, a lot of you guys suck at marketing. A lot of you guys need tons of leads. We got an awesome show. We're going to be talking about how to get some of those leads, how to get high quality leads. And we got Mr. Dave Carroll with Dope Marketing coming on the show. So I'm Ryan Lee. I'm your host of Lighting for Profits, powered by Emery Allen. And got an awesome show lined up. Always still asking if you've been a fan of the show, maybe you haven't revealed yourself yet. Maybe you haven't reached out, but we're still looking for 5-star reviews. So whether it's Apple, Spotify, we don't really care. I do prefer Apple because then you can say something nice too. So give me that 5-star review and do something kind for a local business owner. Yes, I'm a local business owner. I'm local to you. So, I found out in life, the more you give, the more you get. So I try to give people reviews as well. And again, if you've gotten value, give us that 5-star review. Again, guys, we got Mr. Dave Carroll. He owns Dope Marketing. And you're going to want to pay attention to this episode because let's face it, the COVID days are gone. The easy leads are gone. And now it's going to take some work. You're going to need to apply some real strategies. And we're going to talk about some of the easiest things you guys can do to start generating leads and making sure you build your lead machine so it just works, right? And that's probably the number one problem I hear from people right now is they don't have enough leads. So figured let's solve it. Let's have Dave Carroll come on, talk marketing. So, and by the way, if you have not yet scheduled your free strategy session, go to landscapelightingsecrets.com. All you do is go there, landscapelightingsecrets.com, click start now, and watch that case study. You can schedule a strategy session. We'll find out where you're at, where you're stuck, where you want to be, what that roadmap looks like to get there, and build you out one of those strategy sessions. So just go to landscapelightingsecrets.com. And, of course, I always want to thank Emery Allen. They've been really nice to us over the years here at Lighting for Profits. And, this performance matters. It's a true statement for a lot of things, right? But especially in the lighting world. So don't sell yourself short with your customer by using budget level products. Emery Allen is at the top of their game when it comes to performance. Take their VA rating, for example. It's the lowest in the industry. And what does that mean? It means efficiency. So with a low volt ampere rating, you're able to drive more lamps on a circuit with a given transformer rating. With lower quality lamps, that same transformer, you won't be able to put as many lights on the same circuit. So make the switch to Emery Allen today. All you have to do is email Tom G at emeryallen.com and mention you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. He will get you connected. He will hook you up with the discounted contractor pricing. Just mention Lighting for Profits. And all you got to do again is email Tom G at emeryallen.com. Emery Allen's great company, great people. I like to support the people that I like. All right, guys. Again, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to have Dave Carroll on with Dope Marketing, and we're going to help you get some leads. It's pretty cool stuff. This guy knows his stuff, and I like that he's also super passionate about business. He comes from the home service industry and is not just. If you follow him and if you don't yet, connect with him on Facebook because he shares a lot of really cool stuff about business and about mindset and all this stuff that has nothing to do with his company, Dope Marketing, which I think is cool. But before we have him on, I want to just share something. Last week, we had our Secret Summit. And this is our annual members-only event for Landscape Lighting Secret members. It was here in Park City, Utah. And, of course, I'm going to say this, but it was epic. It was so awesome. And what made it special was the people in the room. They were all in. They were committed. And we talked about leveling up because we launched new levels to Landscape Lighting Secrets. We launched our 2.0. And we also launched Ryan Lee 2.0. Okay, I told people, I said, listen, it's taken me a few years to figure this out, but we now have the roadmap. We know exactly what it takes to succeed in this lighting world, and we have it for you, and we're going to just hand deliver it to you. and I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be my 2.0 version of myself. Health, wealth, happiness, relationships, all these things. I'm coming at you hard, right? And so one of the things I want to share with you real quick is how to get what you want in life. Okay. And this is a simple formula that I learned from people ahead of me, people that are more successful than me. And I'm not just talking financially. It's easy to talk numbers. So I like talking about financial, but it could be health, it could be wealth, it could be relationships, it could be any of that stuff, right? And the thing you have to realize is what got you here will not get you there. So a lot of times we think we know stuff and it's like, well, yeah, that worked. It got me here. So certainly it's going to keep working. But the reality is if you want to step up to that next level, you're going to have to strip away almost everything that you've done to get to here. Like 80%. You're going to have to change your identity. You're going to have to be a new person. Because if you think about it, we all want something we don't have. If we didn't want something we don't have, we probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast. We probably wouldn't be attending conferences, trainings, trying to level up, right? We're chasing something. And so why don't we already have it? It's because we haven't become the person that's ready to deserve that, right? And so a lot of times we think, oh, well, we know we're educated. We've learned this. We've been doing this long. Well, we got to get rid of 80% of what we're doing. And the key here is first determining what you want. And honestly, most people don't know what they want. Hey, what's up, Jason? Thanks for being here, man. Stay tuned because we got more coming. Yeah, 2.0, baby. But I'm telling you, most people don't know what they want. Like I used to not know what I want, and I'm still defining every single day, like what I'm going after, right? But I'm just telling you right now, you have to, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And so when I look at the influencers that I am trying to be like, and the people that are leveling up, and they're like several levels ahead of me, they know exactly what they want. They know where they're going, right? And so I want you to do this right now. Write down what you want. Write down what your destination is. Like, what are you chasing? What do you want? It could be, again, it could be financial. I like lighting for profits. Let's talk about money. Like you want $1 million business, you want a $10 million business. Doesn't really matter. Write it down like no one's going to see this. Because most of the time we're afraid to write stuff down because we're like someone might be looking over our shoulder. Like that's kind of embarrassing to state that I want a $10 million business. It's kind of embarrassing that I want to do 100 million because my friends, my family, they think that's crazy. That's nuts. They're going to talk me out of my dreams. And I'm telling you right now, people will do that because it's way easier to talk you out of your dreams than for them to level up. It's just like, all we got to do is reel him back in. Yeah, this is uncomfortable. Where's he going? We don't like this because what does that say about us if we're not leveling up? All right. So it's just like, well, reel him in real quick. And this happens to all of us. We all get reeled back in. But I want you to write down your goal, your dream. What do you really want? And do this. Spend time doing this. And like no one's going to read this. You're not going to share this with anyone, right? No shame, no embarrassment. Write it down like no one's ever going to see it. Okay. And then here's what you got to do. You got to ask yourself this question. What has to be true for you to achieve that goal? Like you could literally write down this question. This question should change your life. Like from this point moving forward, I'm inviting you to become your own 2.0. Some of you are on like 7.0, 26.0, 38.2, right? But I'm inviting you to do that. And what has to be true for you to become to get to your goal? What has to change personally? What has to change in your business? What has to change with your routines? If you want to be a $10 million company, then what needs to happen? What needs to be true for you to be a $10 million a year company? Well, if your average ticket is $10,000, then you need 1,000 customers. Like that's it, guys. It's just math. You need 1,000 people to give you $10,000. Dude, you could start a GoFundMe account and get $10,000 these days. You know what I mean? Like all you need is 1,000 people to give you $10,000. So what needs to be true for that to happen? Well, you need more leads. We're going to talk about that. You probably need to have a capacity issue. Can you even install $10 million, right? So you got to solve the problem. And this is what successful people do. They don't just dream and like wake up and be like, yeah, cool. I read the book Think and Grow Rich and now I'm rich. Like that's the start. Like you got to start dreaming, right? But then they execute on the plan. They build their dream. And so maybe you're like, well, I can't get 1,000 clients. I could only get 200 clients. Well, again, if your goal, your dream is to get $10 million, what needs to be true for you to get 200 clients? And how much do they have to spend? Well, now you have to get 200 people to spend 50 grand with you. And listen, in landscape lighting, this is not unreasonable. This isn't like me making shit up. Can you not get someone to give you $50,000 in exchange to completely transform their yard with lighting at night? Absolutely. There's people that spend 50 grand for a week in Vail. That's just a week. We're going to give them a whole lighting system that's going to last 10, 15 years. So you just need 200 people to give you 50K and you're a $10 million business. And then you keep asking that question. What needs to be true? What needs to be true? What needs to be true? Okay. You want to be fit, or do you want to be fat? Okay. Most people don't want to be fat. They want to be fit. But do you really? Because if you did, you would have already gotten it, right? So it literally starts with this conscious decision to be someone you're not now. Because who we are now, if we were already the person we wanted to be, we wouldn't be who we are now. So you got to be okay with that. Okay. The world wants you to just be you. Yeah. Because then they don't have to keep up. You know what I mean? It's way easier to hold you back than for them to level up. But honestly, it doesn't matter what subject we're talking about here. We all want something we don't have. So, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you were content and had everything you wanted. I just don't think you would be. So write down what you want and go get it. And I'm telling you right now, okay, I've gotten everything in life I've ever wanted. And that sounds like, wait, what? You have everything in life you've ever wanted? Yeah. Doesn't mean that I don't have dreams that I haven't accomplished yet, right? But if I really wanted it, I would have already done it, right? And so I'm writing down these things and I'm accomplishing things, every single thing I want, because there's a plan of action to get there. So some of you are going to keep dreaming. Others are going to listen to this and create your dream. Like literally, you can go out and create your dream right now. And this is the difference between the pros and the amateurs. Okay. So the pros define the destination and solve for X. And that's what we're going to do. So leave you with just a couple questions. And there's a whole list of questions I shared with the group at Secret Summit. But like, start thinking, what would your ideal person do? Like, when they wake up, what do they do? What do they think? What thoughts do they have? What actions do they take? Who do they associate with? Okay. How do they treat others? Like, how do they live their life? What are they doing? And you're not going to just wake up and fulfill your dream. You have to create it. So start acting like who you want to be in business, in your personal life, in your routines, in how you deal with people. Like, you have to start acting like who you want to be. That's the only way to get it. So and then final question is, ask, what are you willing to give up? And this is probably the hardest one, because we don't want to give up. We don't want to give up a lot. What do you mean? We have to sacrifice? Can't we just have it all? You're going to have to trade off something, right? So go and get it. Stop stopping. Keep moving forward and become your new identity, guys. That's all. That's what this is all about. Okay. And I'm not saying like it just happens. Like, for me, it's not a destination. I've become my new identity, but now I'm leveling up to the next one and the next one and the next one. It doesn't stop. So, I'm not at the level I want to be. That's why I'm constantly updating my identity. But I'm telling you now, I look back at my identity now compared to where it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, completely different. And goals are easy to accomplish because you're actually doing something to accomplish them instead of just thinking about them and dreaming about them. So, all right, that's enough about me. I think it's time to get Dave on here. Maybe we'll get his perspective on this. But let me know if you guys are here live. If you have any questions for Dave, let's get the music going. Let's get him coming in. Let's go. Maybe. What is up? What is up, Mr. Dave Carroll?
What up? What's up, guys?
Thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, my friend. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and I'm excited to have you on. I've had marketing on my mind for a long time because everyone keeps asking me and saying, "Oh, we're slow and we don't have as many leads as we want. We just don't know what to do." And I'm like, have things changed? Like, is traditional marketing not working? Like, what's going on? So hopefully we can solve some problems today, man.
I love solving problems. I think we can knock a couple of it.
Awesome, man. Well, we've had you on the show before, but maybe just do a quick intro of yourself. I like that you have a home service background. Maybe talk about that for a second, like how you got into like your own business thing, and then how you transitioned into dope marketing.
Yeah. So for those of us that haven't connected or met trade shows over the years, like Ryan said, I've been in the home service space for going on 15 years now. I started my first company back when I was 25 years old. As we get older and our hairlines get pushed back, I'm going to be 40 next year. It's crazy to say it out loud. I have owned my power washing company for 15 years now. Got started because it was the only job I ever had in my life was a window cleaning, a job at a window cleaning company. So we said, hey, I was the worst employee ever in the history of employees, and I wasn't good at anything they needed me to do. So I tried to go do it myself. And fast forward 15 years later, we Lionshare does a little over $1 million a year. There is peak season, about 15 employees. I have not set foot in that building. This will be the 5th year. I have not set foot there. I do not know the jobs that go. I do not know the people that work from us. I do not know the systems or processes that are built, because I made a decision that running a business meant that I would actually be completely uninvolved. I pay myself, and this isn't like bragging or whatever, but it was, you were talking about like setting your destiny. And one thing that I took from it, successful people don't have different problems. They have different solutions. And all of our definitions of success can be very different. My definition of success has changed over the years. I used to think it was getting off the truck. Then I thought it was making $1 million. Then I realized for me, for where I was at in my life, it was being truly removed from this business, because as an entrepreneur, I just had other things that I wanted to pursue. So success for me was paying myself 6 figures in a home service company that I was 100% removed from. And what I didn't realize, Ryan, is like, you know, not to toot my own horn too much or whatever, but like how uncommon that is in not only a home service business, but any business. And so when I set a goal for myself that like there were some other things in my life that I wanted to achieve, so I was going to take the steps to completely remove myself. If anything happened in that company today, truck broke down, someone didn't show up, jobs, I literally have no clue. I have not gotten a phone call
awesome.
about that business.
It's so rare. I mean, it's rare for people to even make 6 figures and be working in the business, because all the shit that can go wrong.
Sure.
But I love that, because like you, whether you consciously ask this question or not, like you did, you're like, okay, what has to be true for Dave to not step a foot in here and make $100,000 a year? Like, that's just what it comes down to. And I think that sounds so simple, but then none of us do it. It's like, no, what has to be true for you to not have to be putting out these fires every day? Well, clearly you would need to hire people. Clearly you'd need a marketing plan. Clearly you'd have to be bringing in this amount of revenue at this much expenses. And then you would have back out $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever it is.
And let's be clear. It's not like the day I stepped out of the business, I'm paying myself 100 G's a year and doing nothing. Like that was a part of the plan or the path. But just like any goal, if anyone on here is like an athlete or a runner or has ever dated someone or has ever grown a plant or has ever tried to lose weight, it's not an overnight thing. You have to nurture and grow and take steps. And so for me, it was like I made that decision. It took me 4 years to get to where I could totally step out. And then fast forward another 4 years. Sometimes I ask myself why it took so long. But like it's something I'm really proud of. It's something like out of all the things that I share about my life or my family or my business or my relationships, like one thing that I am the most proud of is that like I started a company 15 years ago, like most of us, had no clue what I was doing. Absolutely no clue, but wore every single hat. Answering the phone, doing the customer service, doing the sales, doing the work, shaking the hands, kissing the babies, saving the cats from the trees, like all of it. And I just like, I knew that where I wanted to be with that business, there were parts of it that ran much better when I wasn't involved. And so taking those steps.
I love that. I love that you said, I don't know if anyone's ever grown a plant. That's literally what business is like, because it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to grow this huge plant. It does. You got to nurture it. You got to take care of it. And I'll bet you, I wonder what would happen now. Because I know you've been in masterminds now, coaching, mentorships. You've invested quite a bit. If you were to say the same thing now, let's say you had the knowledge that you have now, you go back into 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't know when you left that business, but how long would it take now to remove your, like, what would have to be true?
So it's fascinating you asked that, Ryan, because I think about it now. When you look at all these different services, right? Whether it's lighting or power washing or roofing or HVAC or whatever. You know, I believe that home service is very, very relative. You know, so you're buying a piece of equipment, you're learning how to do a trade, you're learning how to manage labor. But as you look at these services, this is why private equity is in all of these industries, snapping up companies, because the plan isn't to keep all these in one spot. It's to roll them all up into the next exit. These private equity companies are doing a version of Angie's List or Home Advisor. They're going to have these brands that can service all the needs in an area. And the reason they're doing this is because you brought it up when you were talking earlier. it's not COVID anymore. People aren't stuck in their house, and the only thing they have to spend their money on is the improvement of their house. We're back out in the world. We have been for a couple of years. And so when you look at like generating leads is a little bit harder, but what you should be asking yourself when you think about that question, like, could you do it again? If you knew everything you knew right now 10 years ago, could you expedite it? I think the question we should be asking ourselves is like, what can we do more for our customers? Because a lot of us, regardless of whatever industry we're in, there's a lot of money or needs that's being left on the table that you might have the opportunity. What's the age-old saying? Like it's 10 times more expensive to get someone to swipe their credit card the first time than it is the second time. And so when you look at that about servicing your customer, I think right now, if it took me 10 years to get completely removed from that business, I believe with what I know right now, I could start a home service company in an industry that, I'm not going to say we know nothing about because of relativity. Yeah. I think that I could start a home service business in a lot of verticals, get to 7 figures in less than 24 months and be removed in 48 months.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, it's, man, so many good things you just said there, which is in the landscape lighting industry. When I started my business, I thought, dude, we're going to do $5,000 jobs, but let's get as much as we can, and then we'll never see these people again. But I was so wrong, because now there's maintenance plans. They're like, well, what happens if a light goes down? I'm like, well, we'll create a maintenance plan. And then they're like, hey, well, man, our front yard looks so good. Why don't you come do the backyard? So like 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, all of a sudden we're like doubling the lifetime value of that person. And then like 3 years later, they're like, hey, my husband just got richer, and we bought a new house. Can you come do that one? And by the way, that one's not $5,000. That one's $12,000, $20,000, whatever. So the lifetime value is huge. And this is so important, and it ties into marketing, because a lot of times people measure their result on their marketing of like, oh, I did a direct mail campaign and I spent $20,000 and I only got, $50,000. And I don't know if that makes sense. And I'm like, well, what's the lifetime value going to be? If the lifetime value of your client is going to be 300,000, then that 20,000 seems pretty good to me. But I don't think people realize that this is a marathon. This is not a grow a plant overnight,
Marketing. So we were just doing some content earlier today, and I was asked, what's the difference between marketing and branding? Branding is the marathon. Marketing is the sprint.
Nice.
Branding is the work you do every day, the priming the pump, the making sure. Ryan, you went to Harvard, right? Like me, Harvard.
Oh, yeah. I remember meeting you there.
There you go, alma mater. Well, at Harvard, they told us it takes 7 to 11 touches for a cold consumer to remember a brand. We did a case study at Dope Marketing over the past 3 years. The average local business is only getting 2 to 4 touches on their ideal customer. And so when you look at like who you're putting your message in front of from a branding perspective versus a marketing perspective, a marketing campaign is you taking a dedicated amount of money, a dedicated amount of time, picking a service with an offer and running a campaign. And at the end of that 1 to 3 months, you analyze how many leads did we get? How many leads did we close? How much money did we spend? What opportunities, improvement can we make when we run this same campaign next year? What can we learn from this year to do next year? Not, I spent $100 and I didn't make any money. What's my ROI? It's like, you got to get out of your own way with this shit, because branding, like, look, if you're going to sell your business December 31st and you're in a rat race and a sprint to just go to the end because you're going to sell to one of those private equity companies, great. There is a way to look at every dollar and understand it's never coming back, and those are decisions you have to make. But when you look at your business, a lot of us started our business because we didn't like the corporate life, or we were horrible employees, or we thought we could do a better job than our boss, or we learned a skill or a trade that we could get better at. When you approach it from a sense of like, what's my ROI on the $700 I spent this month? It's like, well, what do you expect? Go back to the plant growing. Go back to the weight loss. Go back to dating your sweetheart. It's like marketing is the sprint, because to train for sprinting, you're doing different work than for a marathon. And you just have to hold yourself accountable for these things, because when we're wearing a lot of hats, when we're doing a lot of things, when maybe we're getting in our own way a little bit, it's easy to focus on the things that are not in our control, which are the end result of every single marketing campaign that's ran for our business.
You're triggering so many thoughts in my mind right now, because I had a digital marketing agency for about 12 months before I launched Landscape Lighting Secrets. COVID happened. I pivoted and all this other stuff. But I think about, as a marketing agency, how in the heck do you trust your clients? Because if they suck at sales, then they're going to blame you for getting shitty leads. You know what I mean? So like this all ties in together, the pricing, the sales, the marketing. If they're not pricing enough, they're like, oh man, the ROI is not there. And it's like, well, double your price and it's fine. And they don't have the confidence to do that. So I don't know how you do it. Like as a marketing company, like if I were you, I would be like, I'm not working with anybody. You're not qualified.
So you know how we do it? We train our customers to be better clients, just like every home service business could do. How much better do you think your leads would be if you put out a video every other week about how to hire a business like yours, about what questions to ask when you need your landscape lighting installed, about what are the 3 things that I need to be concerned about when I get a quote for installing Christmas lights on my house? So what we do as a marketing company, we try to put as much content or helpful information or guides or whatever we can to just show our customers like, hey, it's not like, buy from us, we're the greatest thing in the world. It's like, here's some shit that would just work for your business. Here's exactly how you would do it. What's the stat? It's like, out of every audio book purchased annually, 6% are even like listened to 50%. And I think less than 2% are listened to the entire way.
Oh, wow.
And so when you look at like, everyone wants, what was the thing we were talking about, Raj? It was, everyone wants the view. No one wants to take the climb. And so like, when you look at, you know, what is your definition of success for your business? Is it a money thing? Is it a hiring thing? Is it a gross revenue? Is it a goal of growth this year? Whatever. It's like, are you getting out of your own way enough to not be like, oh, these leads from Angie's List suck this year? It's like, well, how fast are you calling them? Or what's your follow-up process? Or what's the, you know, I think a lot of times as business owners, it's easy because we put so much on our plate and we have so much going on to kind of not hold ourselves accountable for the things that are actually our responsibility.
I don't know what you're talking about. I called him back the next day, Dave. So
I
just
know,
relax.
and God forbid that you were not the number one priority of everything going on in their life. They made time to follow up and you thought it was okay to hit them back in 24 hours.
Yeah. It's tough, man. I'm telling you, leads is a problem. There are less leads now than there was 24 months ago.
Amen.
But it's not the problem. It is a problem. And if you don't solve this other shit, this isn't going to necessarily go away. So I want to talk about some things. Actually, I put this note because I knew I was going to forget. So this is why I wrote it down. Congratulations, dude. Dope Marketing, Inc. 5000, number 475. Are you serious? That's incredible, dude. Like that's.
I almost fell out of my chair when I saw it. We had an office pool. Get this, dude. So cheeky, Dope Market. For anyone that doesn't know, Dope Market, Dope stands for data on previous engagement. It's a fun name. We have as much fun with it as we can with the brand. The guy that won the office pool guessed 420.
Of course, I would have guessed 420 too. Yeah.
Right? Sometimes the stars align and it works. It was Ryan. It was the most.
Dude. That's huge. I'm telling you, like, you know, I'm surprised you even say Inc. 5000. I'd say it's Inc. 475 list because, you know, if you're like 4,999, you're like, boom, made Inc. 5000. You know,
what do they call the doctor that finishes last in medical school?
I don't know.
Doctor.
Exactly. Yeah. But 475 is not a number. I mean, again, like I would probably tease you. I'd still be like, oh, stoked if you made 4,999, but it's 475. That's freaking huge.
It was big, man. It was 475 in the country for growth for businesses, 38th for all marketing and advertising companies in the country, and number 4 in the state of Minnesota, which again, dude, just all of it. You talk about humbling, Ryan, is just like, you know, some of these things. I always saw people like applying for this thing and I always wondered like, how does this work or what is it or whatever. And last year, it was actually our CFO was like, dude, you got to apply for this. And I was like, I don't know. It was humbling, surprising, shocked, man. What's crazy, Ryan, is like, you know, with how many businesses we're able to help and the trajectory of this business. We were just chatting before we started the thing, like we're grabbing the 8,000 square feet next door next month at the start of the month, the growth pattern and the trajectory. But the most humbling thing, Ryan, I'm in office once every 2 weeks. Like this thing got to a point. I learned from all the things that I did before this, that the number one way to get this business to where I wanted to be, where I could do what I'm truly good at, which is be a visionary to a fault, which is hire the right people and get out of my way. Because like I will fuck off anything you put in front of me and overcomplicate it and overthink it and overtalk it and overanalyze it and every part of it. And what I realized was actually, me and Raj were talking about this when we were filming earlier, was like, Gary Vee said, everyone that has or hasn't gone through their Gary Vee phase, you should. Great if you're in your first like 2 to 5 years of business. A lot of ammo there. Gets a little repetitive, but he's an amazing human. And one thing that he says is, if you can hire people that do 70% of what you do, you hired a good employee. I completely disagree. It's 30%. You know what you're going to do as the owner. You have a stake. You're feeding your family off this. You're fighting with your significant other. You're staying up late. You're waking up early. You're doing everything you can to be successful. If you can just find someone who cares 30% as much as you do and figure out a way to pay them a reasonable wage so they can live a little bit better than if they had another job, you're winning. Like,
dude, this is why I love you. We were supposed to talk about marketing and dope marketing. And now we're talking about how to crush it and win in business. You know what I mean? Like, and this is like all your content. I'm like, is he going to talk about dope marketing ever? Because it truly is about like, if you guys just will just listen to what he just said in the last, like, whatever that was, 60 seconds, this is the key to life. You scaled up this business to how many ever millions of dollars, got this amazing, like I've seen inside that place. It's insane. You didn't have that ability as a younger entrepreneur. Your vision wasn't even that big. You didn't even know. That was like insane, because you're like, how would I do all that work myself?
100%. 100%. Like what we have achieved in this company in 4 years, if you would have asked me if I could do this 5 years ago, I would have bet everything that I own, my firstborn, all of it, against the fact of where we were gotten. But the only way it was possible is like you hit glass ceilings on your journey. And what a lot of us don't realize, and it's not a lot on the books on our shelves that we've all read, to get as far as you want to, you have to get out of your own way. And you have to realize the personal growth required to actually have growth in business. Because I don't know if anyone listening to this can relate. I'm a little reactive. I am a problem solver. I focus on what's wrong. I do not see the good. There was a saying I was talking to one of my coaches about. It was, let alone stopping to smell the flowers, man, for years, stopping to smell the roses. I didn't even realize the flowers were growing. That's how like focused I was on all the fires and how fucked up everything was. And what I realized was like, if I don't get myself together every day, and I'm not talking about, prepare myself for the world. It's I have to be ready enough to understand that the people that depend on me during the day, employees, customers, anyone that we deal with from our 9 to 5, however long you work during the day before you get back to your family. If you don't understand that your interactions with those people that depend on you, your employees, your customers, all that, the one interaction that you have with them could their day, their week, their month. Think if you have an employee and you're a manager, someone you don't talk to every day, and you have a bad interaction, like what is that going to do to them? Well, for years, I didn't consider any of that. I'm moving so fast, I'm running, I'm yelling, I'm shaking, I'm trying to whatever. And until I could truly take a step back and realize that like nothing's going to work if I can't be responsible for everything that I put into the world. And that work that I do in the morning. And I'm the first to admit, hippie, woo-woo, meditating, wellness, recovery, all of it. I found the things that allow me to deal with myself before I deal with the world. And that was the key to me unlocking these next levels that I continue to work towards in business and life and relationships and all of it.
Dude, I love it. That is so killer. The only thing I did want to tell you, the only thing I don't like about every of your whole thing is Sweaty Thoughts with Dave.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I'm putting together this coalition. We're having some people sign the thing and stuff. So once we have enough votes, we're gonna shut you down.
Completely banned, just shut down.
Yeah, it's just
Can we go on a run first?
I love that you're running. I love everything else. I'm a super fan. And I'm like scrolling. Oh shit, I just saw it again. I'm like, this should be blurred out. This should be like sensitive.
I try to keep my shirt on most of the times. I mean, like
it's just the sweaty.
I'm a perspirator.
Yeah.
I'm a good perspirator.
I'm gonna see if Facebook can just blur it out for me, and then I think we'll be fine. Because the messaging, the messaging is dope, but I'll
get you the audio version.
Yes, exactly. All right, dude, I love it. Because that's what this is all about. We're trying to help people make money, but the whole reason to make money is so that you can build your dream life. So, and it's not going to come without those other things. I mean, you've invested into yourself. You're invested in, and I'm sure you learn those in masterminds, coaches, friendships, mentors, all that stuff. So I'm always a fan of people that invest in themselves. They're always further along than I am, So I want to bring it back to marketing for a second. Let's just kind of put a marketing plan in place for people. What are some basic things that everybody should be doing? Don't cost a lot of money. Just traditional, like, dude, if you're not doing these, then don't even move on to level 2.
5 around to your customers every time. So what we don't realize is like, it's 10 times easier to get the neighbors of your jobs to hire you than anyone else. And there's a couple reasons for this. Not only are they the same age, they probably make the same amount of money. They probably have a same or similar lifestyle. Home is where the heart is. We all want to live in the same place around people, same or similar to us. But let's take it further in the home service space. Your neighbors' houses were built, the neighbors of your customers, their houses were built around the same year, of the same materials, by 3 to 5 of the same builders. So the same things that are going wrong or that are being maintained or upkeep that are improved at those properties, those homes, it's going on right next door. And a lot of times we get so busy or we get distracted, like, how do I get over there in that neighborhood with the ballers or this private community, or how do I get bigger jobs? It's like, if you really held yourself accountable with what if you could do one more job every day? How would that add up over the course of the year? Well, drive time in itself. Think about those, like when you first started your business and you were like, I know there were days where we would drive like 90 minutes to go get like $500 because we didn't have any work on the calendar.
Right.
That was because we were doing a shotgun marketing approach, advertising in way too big of an area, thinking like, dude, I'll go anywhere if it'll pay my cell phone bill. Just show me and I'll show up there. Well, I think if you look at like one of the number one things you can do in the home service space that will cost less than anything you can do is get yourself a stack of door hangers and a pile of yard signs. And I'm not saying you have to buy them from us. Go find the best deal you can. It'll probably be from us. But you can put those in the nearest 5 neighbors and the front yard. We actually put out a guide. I can send you guys the link to it or DM the dope page. It's called the Yard Sign Playbook. I just went nuts one night and put together like 20 strategies for like really all the way from like very conservative to hyper extremely aggressive yard sign strategies. And I always thought like, you can go get yard signs anywhere on the internet, like 100 signs for like $500. There are not many more places where you can like put 100 billboards to get a return on investment for your time. I used to do this. I used to put my daughter, my oldest daughter is now 11. I used to pop her in the back of my Silverado and we would drive around on Saturday mornings or Friday nights and I would pop out yard signs all around town. And I knew, didn't matter if it was window cleaning season, Christmas light season, power washing season, gutter cleaning season. If I went and put out 25, 30, 40 signs, it would take me 2 to 4 hours depending on where, on where I was going. Dude, every single Monday, we would get 10 to 30 leads every weekend, like clockwork. Now, is that going to work in the middle of June when the kids are out of school and when vacation? Probably not. But when you go to seasonality, when you know your phone is kind of ringing, that's when you should really be advertising because it's when people are looking for you. The idea is like the traditional guerrilla style marketing is the best. Throwing a couple $100 at a boosted Facebook post or trying to run AdWords when you have no fucking clue what you're doing. That is not the way to generate work. When you don't have work on your calendar or you're a little bit slower, you have more time. How can you take your most valuable currency, which is your time, and spend that getting your company in front of people who potentially need your services?
I love it. I know it sounds basic, especially if people have done it, but I don't know. This is my unofficial survey. even people who have done it, I guarantee 90% of the time they're not doing it 100%.
Are you doing it every weekend though? Or not even you? Your time is, if you're the one schluffing at this right now, I know that. Well, if you're not doing it every weekend, are you paying someone to do it every weekend? Because that shit's going to work.
Yep.
It goes to those things that you do in your business that work and then you kind of get busy and you forget about them. The idea is like consistency is what creates success, nothing else. It's the repetition of the behavior over and over and over. So when you like think about these basic ass things like, yeah, Ryan, give me something new. It's like, all right, dude, how often are you doing this stuff?
Yep. I just know people aren't doing it 100% of the time. They might be doing it 50% of the time. You got to be consistent. And I like what you said too, is like the time to invest in marketing is when you're busy. Like so many people, and this happened to me too. I'd fall in the trap of like, dude, we're booked out 6 weeks. We're going to be bazillionaires. And then you don't really manage the process anymore. And you show up to a job and like, there's not a yard sign out. And it's like, why is there not a yard sign out? And it's like, oh, I didn't go check on the last 4 jobs. So does that mean there wasn't a yard sign out on the last 4 jobs?
Yes, it does.
Like, exactly. So like, why are we not doing this? And I think we're in that stage of like fat and happy, or it's almost better if we're desperate. Like I like to act like I'm broke all the time. Just like if I woke up and was poor today, what would I do? I'd probably go do the yard side thing and put them out on every corner and do his 4 hours of that, you know?
So a wise man once said, you have time or you make time. Successful people that I know make time for things that are important.
Love it. Well, so once we do the door hangers, yard signs, what are some next steps that we can start investing in that are easy to do, aren't going to take a lot of time, you know, things like that?
So I think what's really important is understanding the close proximity to your jobs. One exercise that's really easy for any business owner, whether you're using a CRM or your manager shit on a Google Sheet or whatever, go to last year, pull your jobs from the month before, this month, and the month after, put them in a spreadsheet. Sort it by zip code. Count how many jobs you did in each zip code. Right now, it's like the decisions you make in marketing this year are not going to dramatically affect your business. A lot of these things are already set in stone. I'm not saying you can't run a marketing campaign or do some stuff that might make you grow, but you're staffed up right now. Like your capacity is kind of already set. Unless you're aggressively hiring and planning on adding a couple crews before you wrap the season up, you have to hold yourself accountable for how much capacity you have. If you have 3 crews right now and you plan out, we're going to work until the end of November or the beginning of December or before the holidays or whatever, the question you got to ask yourself is if everything went perfect, what is the maximum amount of revenue we could do right now for how we're staffed? Then you can back that out and say, how much repeat work do we have from last year that's going to happen this season? How much gap do we have in that capacity? Look at those top 3 zip codes that you just did through that research. I give you permission to allocate 70% of your marketing budget for the rest of the year in those 3 zip codes where you did the most work last year, because you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. That's what happens in Q1. In January, when people are coming off the holidays, calendar year flips, you're able to analyze what you did last year and continue to build your plan for going into 2025. But if you can look right now and hold yourself accountable, how much work could I possibly do right now? Look at where your jobs were last year and focus your attention on those zip codes. Doesn't matter. It all works. Facebook, Google, SEO, direct mail, yard signs, Angie's List, Home Advisor, smoke signals. They will all generate leads. What will work better is if you focus your touches. How many people see your brand? Remember, we're thinking marathon now. How many people can see your brand simply in the neighborhoods you're currently working in? Because those are the jobs you want. You're already doing something good enough to have someone in that neighborhood hire you tomorrow. What work are you putting in, or how accountable are you holding yourself to get more touches, to get more impressions, to build more trust, so that people just like your current customers that just happen to live next door to them, how many times are they seeing you or hearing about the problems that you solve for the things you're already doing in their neighborhood?
Love it. So the key is consistency. You need to be in front of them a lot of times. A lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to send it out to 100,000 people. And in landscape lighting, you only need, if you want to be $1 million business, You only need 100 people to give you $10,000.
You know what I would do to get
not
those
rocket
100 people? I would pull up houses on Zillow that are for sale for $1 million in my area. I would look at where those pins are on the Zillow map. I would print it on my computer. I would draw a circle there, and I'd make sure every weekend there was a kid putting out yard signs and door hangers in that place. But then I'd do a video of my door hanger and be like, hey, you might have seen this on your door. We're helping in your neighborhood. Click this link to hear about us. Every single thing that you do, if you simply look, and again, I know it's one of those things, it's like, oh, thanks, Dave. Advertise to the neighbors of my job. Fucking brilliant. We don't hold ourselves accountable enough that, like, this month, any decision you make is not going to inherently change your business. It's every single day the work you do is going to get you to where you want to go.
Love it. Yeah. And it's like, you could have 100,000 people see your message and brand one time, or you could have 10,000 people see it 10 times. Obviously, we want to have a smaller audience, especially when we're talking, we only need 100 people to give us a $10,000 check. It's only 100 people. We're not trying to target 3.6 million people.
Think if you just did one of those thermometers on your office, like the things where you fill up the donations, and you just be like, I need 100 jobs for 10 grand on January 1st. And your only focus was, what we say, 100?
Yeah.
So what, by 12, we need 12 a month? Not even 10?
No.
What's the number?
8.3.
Huh?
8.3. Some people are 0.3
jobs a month. So it's just like, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's only as hard as you make it.
Yeah. No, people make it really complicated. So, well, that's good. So let's talk about, all right, let's talk about right now. I don't know what it is. I think it's that time of the month for me or something like that. I'm just irritable. And people are telling me, oh my gosh, I'm so slow. What do I do for leads? Oh my gosh. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, how much are you investing? What do you mean? Well, how much are you spending for advertising? How much are you actually spending on this stuff? Well, I tried this. It was $500 and that was $1,500. And so I'm out a few grand. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? If you want to do that $1 million, in my opinion, I'm willing to spend some serious dough because I don't have a brand yet. People don't know who I am. It's not like I've been around 12 years and everyone knows who we are and we have tons of repeat business. Like, I'm willing to spend 15%. How much do you tell people to spend as a percentage of revenue on advertising?
Have you ever heard of the SBA?
A little bit.
So our friends at the SBA released an article. It was in February of this year. And they said that businesses under 5 million in revenue should spend 8% of their gross revenue on marketing. Now, I've read books, I've heard stats. I am a firm believer that you need to spend to grow. Easy coming from a marketing guy, I understand it. I believe that for a flat number, I like 8 to 10% of your annual revenue should be spent on marketing. So for every million you want to do, you should be willing to spend $100,000 in advertising for every million you want to do. I didn't say lead generation. I didn't say spend $100,000 buying lead and ask what your ROI was. If you take that $8,300 a month, or maybe you're a seasonal business, you're only in business 3 or 4 months out of the year, or maybe you're in Minnesota and you do power washing, you're only working 7 months out of the year. The math is yours to do. I have seen conservative marketing budgets as low as 4%. What you got to ask yourself is, are you a conservative company? Do you want to live conservatively and grow conservatively your whole life? I've never met a business owner that's like, yeah, I just want to grow really slow forever. That's where you start playing with those numbers.
That's what people say when they're not doing very well.
Amen. And again, like, look, I never want to be negative about a business owner. It's like, dude, I'm good. I like doing the work. I like answering my phone. I don't want employees. I want to do 180 grand a year and I want to keep 60 of it. Like, I think that can be a great life, especially if you don't live in a huge city, maybe a rural area. Like, you can live a very happy life doing that. Most business owners that I meet are like, how do I get my business to do $1 million? Yep. Then how do I get off the truck? Then how do I not be as involved in my company as I was the first 10 years? For me, from my experience, that is taking conservatively 10. Dude, there have been years I've spent 22% of our annual revenue on marketing and advertising. You know why? Because I knew I wasn't closing in December. I knew these blitzes I was doing in these neighborhoods, this branding recognition I was trying to do, these huge marketing campaigns were much more for me to grow. When you see the guys in the holiday lighting, the Christmas light groups right now, right? That season's picking up. People are getting busy. You see these guys doing these huge jobs, commercial jobs, doing the entire HOA of the neighborhood. You know what didn't happen? They didn't run a $500 marketing campaign last week, land that job and install it. That shit happened last year from all the work they did, from all the connections they made, from all the property managers, all the engineers, all the facility managers, all the real estate companies, all the people they were banging on in August and September last year that flitted around, that asked them for something, that got an estimate, that nothing happened. And then that company that got that job that you're jealous of on Facebook for 100, 150, 300 grand, whatever it was, they hit up Ryan, the guy who installed that, in June. He went back and forth through the bidding process all the way through July, probably was trying to figure out in the group how to do, and then got that job.
Right.
You know what happened? After the next 3 or 4 years, he made it profitable. He understood the systems. And then through that, what he learned, he understood how to communicate those jobs, how to hire better, how to order supplies better. And that's how you got to the $1 million. So it's like, when I think about, marketing budgets, what kind of jobs do you want? I look at the lighting, and again, I'll go holiday lighting. I am not the lighting expert guy for year round, but holiday lighting, my company's done holiday lighting for 7 years now. You have leads that come in August and September. You blow them up. You follow up with them until October 1st. You put them in a bucket. Those leads aren't dead, but you're not as focused on them because you gave those people a certain price.
Yep.
October until Thanksgiving. October 1st till Halloween. There's another cycle of leads that you're working. Prices are a little bit higher. You see other people competing. The shit's out in Home Depot now, so people are getting excited. That's another bucket of leads. Now you go November 1st until Thanksgiving, peak season, top prices. The closer you get to Thanksgiving, you're raising your prices, getting more, because now you're getting busy. You're not having to advertise as much, but the companies that did it right, they were priming the pump the entire time through those 3 phases of the holiday lighting season. Because it's not that the people in August, you spent the $500 or the $1,500 generating the leads or whatever, and nothing happened. Sure. You know what did happen? You branded your company. People saw something, what it was. One of the things that kills me, Ryan, is like, for all the companies that offer other services, whether it's landscape lighting, window washing, pressure washing, roofing, gutter cleaning, if you offer a free holiday lighting estimate with every other service you provide, how many more jobs do you think you would just get this year? Coming from a gutter cleaner, window cleaner, power washer, when we implemented that, we've been open 15 years. We only implemented that 3 years ago. You know what? Every single house with a value of over $500,000 is getting any service we provide from now until Thanksgiving. Holiday light estimate.
Yep. Well, I think that, the book E-Myth teaches us that the entrepreneur myth is that entrepreneurs start businesses. And it's so true. Like, we don't. We, like, technicians start businesses. And we're like, I could do that. I don't want to work for someone. And the oath that we didn't know we took on is that we have a responsibility to our team members, to our families, to our communities. And part of the oath is that we would be willing to invest this 7 to 10%, which I'm going to call 15% early on, in advertising and marketing. And like, I understand you didn't know that you signed the blood oath, but you were asleep. We pricked your finger. You signed the blood oath. It happened when you started the business. And so when people are expecting these results without the execution, they're crazy. And you have to be a little bit crazy to run a business, but that's insane. Like, you have to be willing to invest. And the reason I come up with 15 is because, and the reason I think it makes sense, that the SBA, I think they're associated with the government, the government.
Well, they're the ones giving you the loans for the shit too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They also define a small business as under 500 employees.
Correct.
I've never had close to that. But here's the thing. Let's say your first year, your first $1 million, you come into the game and you go, okay, I listened to Dave. I listened to Sweaty Thoughts with Dave, Ryan Lee. I'm going to spend $150,000. Okay. That's 15% of that $1 million for the first year. But year 2, when you double and go from $1 million to $2 million and you keep that budget exactly the same, now all of a sudden we're at 7.5%. Oh, that doesn't sound too crazy. And here's why you need to do this, is because if you have customers, now you have repeat, now you have referral, now you have these things that a lot of people brag about, but now they're in place and you can rely on that as revenue. as long as you have a system for that. A lot of people aren't even asking about referrals and staying in contact with their clients. So it is possible to do it at that. But like you said, I don't associate with people that don't want growth. Like we're in like, let's take over the world mode right now. Let's go to our own 2.0. Like let's level up. So I just hope that people take away that you need to be investing. Okay. And it's not a quick instant return. I love what you said. It's like, no, the result right now that you're getting was something that you did 3, 6, 9, 12 months ago. And if you're expected to just drop $5,000 right now to make 60,000, like it could happen.
Show me where that vending machine is, because I'll stand in line all day.
For real. Here's what I say on direct mail. The first is the worst. So when people are like, dude, I did this thing and I sent these postcards out and I already got a $60,000 job. I'm like, you're the freaking man. Like that shouldn't have even happened because that was the worst one. So you're going to have an awesome year, you know? Talk to me a little bit about, because I just had that thought of like, okay, we're not just talking about getting new customers. How do we stay engaged? How do you use direct mail? How do you use marketing to keep those referrals and that repeat business coming?
I think the biggest thing you have to remember nowadays with technology is like, you got to be selfish for your customers. So Ben wants to listen to the audio. Dave wants to watch the video. Ryan wants to read the book. Like not all of our customers communicate the same, because technology in our hands nowadays with Chirp and RP1 and Hatch and Zapier and High Level, all these technologies, you have to be selfish for your customers. And your customers, as sad as it is to hear, hiring your business is not their number one priority. You're on their list. I like to say your customers have 100 problems. You opened a business because you solved 2 to 6 of them perfectly. You have to constantly be not only reminding people about what you do, but like one of my coaches told me this, you know, when you try to like, desperation is very unattractive. You know, yeah, desperate, you're always whatever. But if you really wanted to like reach out or needed something from a successful person, all you got to do is ask for help. If someone DM me right now, and I'm not Mr. on top of my messages all the time or whatever, but if someone hit me and was like, Dave, I watch Ryan's podcast and I really need help. Here's my problem. Not, hey, dude, I got an idea. Can I pitch you on? Hey, dude, can I pick your brain? Pick your brain, pick your ass. I'm not like never. Pick your brain is never, ever, ever worst statement in the fucking world. But if you reach out to someone that you look up to or have solved a problem that you need an answer to, and you simply asked for help, if that human is a half a decent individual and they were like, man, you know what? I have some compassion. I have some empathy. I've been in that spot before. I know that's the key to my heart. If someone says, Dave, I have a problem. I need some help. Here's my problem. Can you help? I might not be able to get on a call for an hour, but I'll at least send a message back, send a voice memo, do something to put it in the right direction. I think a lot of times, like, running a business is hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It's the reason that these groups and these masterminds, these things evolve, because we want to be around people going through the same pain as us. But a lot of times, like, we let our ego in the way and we don't just ask for help.
Love it, man. Well, that's pretty much our time. So I appreciate you coming on, man. If people want to follow you, your journey, get in touch with your company, what's the best way to stay in touch?
David Carroll on Dope Marketing. I'm the balding guy screaming about direct mail. If you type in Dope Marketing into Facebook, Zuckerberg might tell you that you're searching for drugs. I promise you're not. It's just us. We're in contact with them, trying to tell them to stop telling people that. Dope Marketing, anywhere you can find it. We're here to help where we can.
All right, guys, support them. They support you. Dopemarketing.com. Thanks again, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay, guys, have an awesome week. Now go make a shit ton of money. Change your life. No more excuses. It's my 2.0 year. Let's go. See you guys.